Okay, we will start with our opening prayers. Taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. As we've been doing before, we'll say this once in English and then chant 2 times in Tibetan. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by listening to teachings and the other paramitas, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye chadang sogi chognam la, jangchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi, dagi jinso gipe sonam ki, rola penchir sangye drupar so. Sangye chadang sogi chognam la, Jangchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi, dagi jinso gipe sonam ki, drola penchir sangye drupa sho. The 4 immeasurable thoughts. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies.
Blessed by my gurus and deities who have the power to accomplish these fortunate states.
Exactly. May we be
Hi,
blessed.
Ruthie and Brian.
Have
We
the
have
power to
physical
accomplish.
attendees today. And Molly. Hi.
Hi.
Good trip.
I did. It was really nice. We'll talk.
Great. We'll talk later. And I have something for your greenhouse.
Oh, wow.
Some things.
You have to bring it.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I do.
Now we go to the 7th limb prayer. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until samsara ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate the merit created by myself and others to the great enlightenment. And then the mandala offering, where we picture a purified universe of consciousness and form, and make this as an offering to our gurus and the Buddhas and all the bodhisattvas and highly realized beings. Zajipati Jukshin Meto Ramri Rablingji Nidegen Padi Sangye Shindu Midem Drum Nam Dakshin Vasho Idam Guru Radna Mandala. Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy day before eclipse time.
Yes.
Speaking of which.
Speaking of which, I think we are deciding to cancel tomorrow because it will be 75% chance of thunderstorms at the time of or 70% at the time of the eclipse, 96% cloud cover. So
Yeah.
and it's a time, it's actually supposed to be a time where you can do some personal meditation, and hopefully the meditation that's at the end of this refuge visualization on emptiness
Yeah.
will be a good one for us to do. I hope so.
So is that an actual decision or is that still?
Yes, we have an actual decision.
I think we have an actual decision.
No, just say it.
We have an
a
actual decision. We have to do it. I mean, we have to.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Brian. We're working in a direction towards making a decision.
Well, you know.
It's my favorite decision that.
It just seemed unbelievable that those would be the conditions, you know?
Right, you can't beat Mother Nature.
No, you can't, but I mean, it would be okay if it weren't gonna rain, but we're pretty sure it's already been drizzling off and on this morning.
Yeah,
I would look at the long-term satellite movement of the storm coming up
Yeah.
the Gulf and,
You
because
can't
of the
slow-
rain, this is just not a good property to be schlepping about in the rain since we don't have a other gathering area, so.
yeah.
But that paired with the reality that it's primarily an internal event as a practitioner, and it's in Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhist scientific terms, it's because of the effect that the planets have on the movement of the channels, the energy, the winds moving through the channels and the subtle drops. And apparently there's something about the alignment of the planets. As you know, we visualize all the Buddhists sitting on the sun, moon, and eclipse discs. And it's because of this correlation with the energy and how it affects those subtle energies and your ability. Apparently, any virtuous things you do penetrate into your non-existent consciousness in a I don't know, all I know is I don't think Tibetans do things for the hell of it.
I'm not sure I followed that, but
Uh,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry, but I'll send the link in the formal cancellation notes. We just decided here formally, in the formal cancellation notes, I'll send the link. To the fact, but unfortunately, I clicked send last night while I was falling asleep at the computer. So that wasn't really the message I meant to send last night.
Oh,
Okay, I'll shut up.
Okay, so are you ready with
Yes.
all the things? Okay. So today what we're gonna do is go through the entire refuge visualization all in one session. And so this can function as, once it's online, it can function as a kind of a guided meditation if you choose to do that. There also will be this complete visualization is in a study guide. There will be links to all of the mantras, links to all of the images so that you can do that yourself as well.
Right now in the chat, I made a new, just today, this morning, a new PDF that has all of the images and the mantras in it, including his holiness, and you know, all the new things. So I'm gonna drop that, come on, I'm gonna drop that in the chat box right now.
One of the things I will say is that this has a lot in it. And the way you should think about this is if there's some aspect of this that is causing you discomfort or frustration, or you're just not getting it, just go to the thing that works for you. For instance, if you just feel very close to Chenrezig and you just feel like I want to experience some time with Chenrezig and the you know the holding the Buddha nature at the heart and all those visualizations, focus on that. If Manjushri doesn't seem to be doing much for you, don't worry about it. All that will, if you focus, say, on something that has meaning to you now, it will open up. You will be able to open up to the other aspects of this visualization, because each aspect contains elements of the other, sort of implied. Things like, you know, at the beginning you visualize your mother and father on either side of you. Well, if that causes a block for you, because some people have had very traumatic relationships with their parents,
right.
and to include their parents in some kind of visualization that's supposed to, you know, be making you feel peace and generosity and connection, then don't do it. Don't do it right now.
Right.
There will come a time, as your understanding of karma and what karma is and your relationship with your parents, it will make much more sense to you, and you would be able to do that. Many people, when the lamas were first giving us this visualization, kept raising their hands about, well, what about my mother? I don't like my mother. I just can't do that. We had one person in the group who literally was abused by her parents. I
Right,
mean, locked in a closet, beaten, and the parents had to be taken away. So what I'm trying to get across is, do what works for you in this visualization. Don't feel like you have to incorporate everything all at once.
yeah.
We will go through this, the whole visualization, and it will be there in its form. So I think so at some time later, if you want to go back and really dig deeper into it, then you can do that. You can do that. I don't think we will go through this whole thing again.
Yeah.
Not like this. There are aspects of this that will come up during our studies of Nagarjuna, and we will use that.
Mhm.
But the idea is to little by little familiarize ourselves with all of these, all of the concepts that are in here and all of the meditations that are in here, because this particular visualization touches on every aspect of the Buddhist path to enlightenment. All aspects of it, the compassion wing, the wisdom wing, the union of the compassion and wisdom wing, which is the Tantra or the Vajrayana wing, the connections to your gurus, the connections to the Buddhas. So it contains everything in it, which is a very, very, very helpful over time. As you'll see today, even it has taking vows, taking your bodhisattva vows can be part of this if you choose to do so. You know, so this is I'm just saying there's a lot in here. Don't let it overwhelm you. Feel free to only focus on what works for you. Okay.
Mhm.
But today we're going to go through the whole thing. Again, I wanted to emphasize that a lot of people have this problem with the idea of visualization, thinking that they're supposed to see something the way they see it with their eyes, and that's not the case at all. And I don't think people realize that we visualize or picture things all the time, and that visualization is it's a necessary process of accomplishing anything. I think I mentioned last week, if you're going to get your keys and go to the car, immediately you visualize, you picture getting the keys, then you picture you putting the keys in the car. You picture the whole thing before you actually do it. If you're picturing, if you're deciding you're going to make dinner, you start thinking and picturing what it is you're going to do. So this is how we actually accomplish things, which is why this is so such a powerful kind of meditation. Because we're picturing things, and then we will accomplish these things over time. Okay. So now we go to the foundation. Actually, I would like to open up with doing the 9 breaths. So there's a practice that the lamas give, where you sort of clear your channels, and you clear the winds in your channel before you would do this visualization. And before you would do any meditation, actually. And the first is you would block, the way Holiness showed it, is that you would block your right nostril with your right thumb. And you would breathe through your left nostril. And as you're breathing through the left nostril, you imagine that the energy that rides on the winds goes in through your left nostril, through to your left channel, goes down the left side of your body all the way to the base of your spine, and then it comes up through the central channel. And
No, it comes up.
comes up through the opposite, the right channel, and then comes out of your right nostril. So you're breathing in energy, wind, into your left nostril, imagining it's going all the way down to the base of your spine, sort of making a loop, and then shift, and cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
So then you shift, and then you cover your left nostril as you're breathing out, okay? And the idea is that an idea that they give along with this is that you're breathing in very pure energy into your being. And as it comes around and goes back out the right nostril, you're letting go of all of your energy of grasping attachment, hanging on to things, not being able to let go. So this is the idea. So we'll do this,
You do that three
do
times.
this 3 times, okay? So first start with a blocking of the right nostril. Breathe in. Imagine the energy goes all the way to the base of your spine, makes a loop, and then comes back up. Block your left nostril. It comes up, goes to the top of your head, then down out through your right nostril, and imagine that you're letting go of all your grasping attachment. Do this 2 more times. So this meditation, this opening breath meditation, nine breaths, is using what they call the 3 poisons. It's using attachment, it's using aversion, and then it's using ignorance. So now we're going to
Switch directions.
switch directions, and we're going to block our left nostril with our, middle finger or whatever. His Holiness uses his middle finger and thumb. That's all I'm saying. So
Uses an index finger.
yeah. So you block the left nostril, and then you breathe in this pure energy through your right, and it does the similar thing. It goes into the channel on the right, which sort of goes up to the top of the head and then comes down the right side of your center, and then makes a U-turn, and then when it comes back out the left, we'll switch and block the other nostril. So what we're bringing in now is pure energy through the right, and then we're releasing all of our aversion energy. Aversion energy has things like fear, anger, guilt, depression. All of these fall under aversion. So what we're doing is we're letting go of all that energy, releasing it out as we let the breath out. So again, 3 times, block the left nostril, imagine pure energy coming in, and then all of your aversion, fear, anger, guilt, even jealousy is a kind of aversion. Let that go, okay? 3 times. Third time, we don't block either of the nostrils. We keep it open. And what we're bringing is we're bringing in energy through both sides, both channels, the right channel and the left channel. And it goes like this, in through the nostrils, sort of up, curves around, and then comes down either side of what would be, you think of as your spine area or central column, And then what they're going to do is they're going to come together. They're going to come together like this, and then go right up through your central channel, and then all the way out through the crown of your head, your crown chakra. So is that clear?
Yes.
Air's coming in both sides, going on either side, the left and right channel. They come together, go up through the central channel and out through your crown chakra. And what we're taking in here is very pure positive energy coming into our system. And as it goes up, out through our central channel and through the crown, what we are releasing is all of our confusion about how we exist, what emptiness is, understanding the Dharma, understanding anything, understanding our relationships. Just let all of the confusion go, okay? Okay, and that's the ignorance part. So we have attachment, aversion, and ignorance. The ignorance is a misunderstanding. So you're letting this misunderstanding and confusion go. Okay, 3 times, both nostrils, both sides, up through the central channel, out through the crown chakra. Okay, so now we'll begin. Visualize in the space in front of you a huge, magnificent platform of rainbow-like light having equal sides. The platform is supported by the powerful energy of 8 majestic lions, also made of rainbow-like light. 4 lions are supporting the center of each side of the platform in the cardinal directions, and 4 lions are supporting the 4 corners of the platform in the ordinal directions. This platform serves as a large base upon which the objects of refuge will be seated. The base should be level with the gap between your eyebrows. 5 lotus thrones of light sit on this base. 1 in the center, the other 4 situated around it in the 4 cardinal directions. The central lotus throne is slightly higher than the other 4. Imagine that you are surrounded by all sentient beings in every realm of existence throughout the entire universe. They are seated together with you, looking at the platform of light, supporting the 5 lotus thrones of light. Seated directly to your left and right, respectively, are your mother and father, who symbolize the countless beings around you with whom you've had close karmic relationships at one time or other throughout multiple realms of existence since beginningless time. All of these beings are undergoing the suffering of their various types of rebirth. However, you visualize them in the form of human beings capable of speech and comprehension, who are lost, confused, and looking for the refuge of a safe direction to take in their life. Generate the visualization of Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha is seated on the lotus throne at the center of the huge platform of light in front of you. His figure represents refuge, a safe direction for one's life in this vast and unfathomable universe of infinite possible directions we could take. He is the embodiment of all Buddhas, gurus, and spiritual masters, bodhisattvas, noble Arya beings, Dharma protectors, and Dharma realizations. From your heart, make the request to the Buddha that you be inspired to follow the path to full enlightenment. Make this request on behalf of all living beings who are trapped in cyclic existence. Rays of light stream from the figure of the Buddha before you. This light enters your body and quickly removes all negativities, obscurations, and hindrances, freeing you to progress quickly on the path. Imagine that this light flows not only to you, but to all the sentient beings situated in space around you. Imagine that they all receive, absorb, and hold the Buddha's inspiration and blessings as you recite the mantra of Shakyamuni Buddha. Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. 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 Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. Tayata Om Muni Muni So Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Eswo. And as I mentioned before in the other sessions when we did this, you want to keep the breath going with the mantra. So you can actually do this in a whisper where you breathe, you are actually forming the shapes of the syllables and reciting the mantra almost in a whisper. And you can do this as you're breathing in. So it'd be so you never stop the flow of the frequency and the energy. Right. Now we move to Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion. Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion, now emerges from Shakyamuni Buddha's heart and sits on the slightly lower lotus throne to the Buddha's right, your left as you're looking at it. Chenrezig embodies the qualities of immeasurable love, compassion, joy, and equanimity that are representative of the lineage of the compassion way, also known as the lineage of extensive deeds. From your heart, generate the request that you be inspired to cultivate these four immeasurable qualities within your being. Make this request on behalf of all the beings situated in space around you who want to be happy, but are trapped in the pervasive suffering of cyclic existence. Imagine that a duplicate of Chenrezig emerges from his heart and comes to the crown of your head. The duplicate Chenrezig superimposes his body of radiant white light with 4 arms and hands onto your body. Think of yourself now as an aspiring bodhisattva and Chenrezig as your coach, training you in the way to embody the 4 immeasurables for the benefit of all beings. Imagine that you look at the countless sentient beings in the space around you while holding both their Buddha nature and yours at your heart in the form of a sky blue jewel made of light held between your 2 inner hands of love and compassion. In your outer right hand, imagine you are continually moving the beads of a crystal mala, transmitting immeasurable joy to all beings, with the prayer that they be inseparable from the happiness that is completely free from suffering. In your outer left hand, you hold a radiant blue lotus by its stem in a gesture of immeasurable equanimity toward the countless beings around you, knowing that all beings equally have the potential through their Buddha nature and clear light continuums of consciousness to arise from the darkness of ignorance and the karmic stains of their afflictions and obscurations to emerge as fully enlightened beings. Feel that all sentient beings receive, absorb, and keep these blessings of the mantra as you recite Chenrezi's mantra, which is Om Mani Padme Hum.
It's on screen too.
Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Next, Manjushri, the Buddha of wisdom. Manjushri, the Buddha of wisdom, emerges from Shakyamuni Buddha's heart and sits on the slightly lower lotus throne to the Buddha's left, our right as we're looking at it. Manjushri embodies the qualities of enlightenment that are representative of the wisdom wing, also known as the lineage of profound view. From your heart, generate the request to Manjushri that you be inspired to have the motivation, the enthusiasm, and the perseverance to develop your understanding of the profound view of emptiness. Make this request on behalf of all sentient beings who, due to ignorance of the true nature of self and phenomena, perpetually generate destructive karmic actions of body, speech, and mind that bind them to the dissatisfaction and suffering of cyclic existence. Imagine that a duplicate Manjushri emerges from the heart of Manjushri on the lotus throne before you and comes to the crown of your head. The duplicate Manjushri superimposes his body of light onto your body. Again, think of yourself as an aspiring bodhisattva and Manjushri as your coach, training you in the way to understand the empty nature of self and phenomena in order to attain liberation and enlightenment for the sake of all beings. As Manjushri, your body is made of brilliant saffron light that radiates out like the sun in all directions to dispel ignorance and mistaken views. In your right hand, you hold a deep blue double-edged sword with a golden Vajra handle above the right side of your head. The double-edged sword is wrapped in a blaze of fire toward the tip of the blade, where the two edges come together and meet. This sword of wisdom cuts through and destroys afflictions and obscurations resulting from ego self-grasping ignorance that leads to nihilistic views and the dualistic two-sided views of self and other, conventional reality and ultimate reality, and subject and object. In your left hand, you hold the stem of a lotus at your heart. The stem curves its way upward toward your left side to just below your left ear, where it blossoms into a lotus flower of light, the center of which holds the Prajna Paramita perfection of wisdom sutra of the Buddha. This signifies that by listening to wisdom teachings, studying them, contemplating them, and fully familiarizing yourself with them, you will develop the methods to cut through and destroy your ignorance and ego-based views. Imagine that you and all sentient beings receive, absorb, and keep these blessings so that they take root in your hearts as you recite Manjushri's mantra, Om Arapat. At the end of the last round, repeat the final D syllable many times and focus its energy at the center of your heart chakra, where the indestructible drop of energy, which contains your clear light continuum of consciousness and your Buddha nature, resides. Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Adi Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Sanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Sanadi, Om Arapatanadi, Om Arapatanadi. Now, Vajradhara. Vajradhara, the primordial Buddha, who represents all sentient beings' innate capacity for enlightenment, emerges from Buddha Shakyamuni's heart and takes his seat on the slightly lower lotus throne behind Buddha Shakyamuni. Buddha Shakyamuni's body and lotus throne become clear and transparent, so Vajradhara can be seen without obstruction. Vajradhara, which means diamond holder, that is, the holder of primordial, indestructible Buddha nature, is deep blue in color and represents the lineage of consecrated practices known variously as Vajrayana, Tantrayana, and Mantrayana. At Vajradhara's heart is Vajrasattva. Put Vajrasattva up.
We don't see Vajrasattva here. There it is.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't see it.
right. You would not see it in the image of Vajradhara, but at Vajradhara's heart is Vajrasattva. Vajrasattva means diamond being. This is the diamond being of your own indestructible Buddha nature that exists as potential within your clear light continuum of consciousness. Vajrasattva emerges from the heart of Vajradhara and comes to the crown of your head, where he is seated at the center of a lotus with his legs crossed in the full lotus position. Vajrasattva's entire figure, including the lotus, is made of brilliant white light emanating out in all directions. In his right hand, close to his heart, he holds a vajra, a symbol of skillful means representing the compassion or method aspect of the path. In his left hand, beside his left hip, he holds an upturned bell, a symbol of emptiness and the perfection of wisdom, which represents the profound view or wisdom aspect of the path. In this way, Vajrasattva embodies the union of compassion and wisdom in one figure. Picture Vajrasattva as a ball of powerful, brilliant white light at the top of your head. Recognize that he represents your own innate capacity to reach the highest levels of bodhisattva realizations that lead directly to Buddhahood. Imagine that a portion of the powerful white light from Vajrasattva goes to the base of your body. As you recite the Vajrasattva 100-syllable mantra 3 times, imagine that the white light starts to fill your entire being from the bottom up. It fills all of the cells in your physical body, your nervous system, and all of your energetic winds, the prana that moves through your energetic system of channels and chakras, so that every part of you is gradually being cleansed of negative karma. Picture your negative karma as a dark, energetic matter, which is being dissolved and pushed upward by the white light. As you imagine the cleansing light moving upward through every part of your being, continue to recite the mantra. Finally, imagine the white light pushes the remaining dark energy through the crown of your head and directly into Vajrasattva's powerful, brilliant white light at the top of your head, where it is completely dissolved and gone. Imagine all sentient beings in the space around you, your mother, your father, your friends, enemies, and strangers. Each with Vajrasattva at their heads are also being purified along with you. And so now we'll recite the mantra 3 times. We'll take it fairly slowly, and just imagine this white light slowly moving the dark energy up and out through the top of your head into Vajrasattva. Om Benza Sato Samaya Manu Palaya Benza Sato Teno Pertikia Duridro Mevawa Suto Kyoyo Mevawa Supo Kyoyo Mevawa Anurakto Mevawa Sawa Siti Metraya Sarva Karma Sutsa Me Setam Shriram Guru Ha 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 Ho Bhagavana Sarva Tata Gata Benza Mame Munja Benza Bhava Ma Samaya Sato Ahum Pe Om Benza Sato Samaya Alaya Benza Sato Teno Pertikia Driro Mevawa Sutu Kyoyo Mevawa Supu Kyoyo Mevawa Nurato Mevawa Sawa Siti Metrayatsa Sarva Karma Sutsa Me Sitam Shriram Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavane Savartata Gat Benza Mame Munja Benza Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Ahum Pe Om benzo sato samaya manupalaya benzo sato teno petikia riro meva wa sutu kyoyo meva wa supu kyoyo meva wa nurato meva wa sava siti metraya tsasara kama sutsame sitam shriram puro hun ha 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 ho bhagawane sava tataka benza mame muja benza bawa maha samaya sato ahum he. Upon completing this mantra, Vajrasattva returns to the heart of Vajradhara on the lotus throne. Shakyamuni Buddha's body and lotus throne return to their previous semi-transparent appearance of rainbow light. Now, visualize His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and you can put this one up. His Holiness the Dalai Lama now emerges from Shakyamuni Buddha's heart and sits on the slightly lower lotus throne in front of the Buddha. His Holiness represents our connection to the lineages of extensive deeds, which is the compassion and method wing, profound view, which is the wisdom wing, and the consecrated practices, the Vajrayana, Tantrayana, Mantrayana practices in Buddhism. These practices have been passed down from teacher to teacher, beginning with Shakyamuni Buddha to Maitreya and Manjushri, then to Asanga and Nagarjuna, Shantideva and Atisha, all the way to Tsongkhapa and His Holiness's tutors, Trijang Rinpoche and Ling Rinpoche. From His Holiness then to our teachers, and from our teachers to us. His Holiness is teaching the Dharma while in a state of meditative absorption, encouraging us to study the Dharma and put our studies into practice. His right hand is held in the gesture of teaching the Dharma, with his thumb and index finger touching at their tips to form a circle and the remaining fingers upright. Between his thumb and index finger, he holds the stem of a lotus, which gently curves upward toward his right side, where it blossoms just above his right shoulder. At the center of the lotus blossom is a traditional Tibetan-style loose-leaf Dharma manuscript wrapped in silk. This gesture of his right hand encourages us to study. His left hand is in the gesture of meditative absorption, with a Dharma wheel resting on his palm. This gesture encourages us to put our studies into practice. The gurus and spiritual teachers from whom you have received Dharma teachings emanate from His Holiness's heart and surround his lotus throne. So out of the Dalai Lama's heart now comes all of your teachers, your gurus. Your gurus who are still alive sit on cushions. Those who have already died sit on luminous white moon discs in the center of lotuses of light. For example, gurus such as Lama Thubten Geshe, Geshe Drakpa Gelek, Geshe Thubten Zopa, and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who have already died, sit on white moon discs in the center of lotuses of light. Gurus who are still alive, such as Venerable Geshe Palden Drakpa Rinpoche, Geshe Lobsang Nima, Venerable Robina Courtin, and Venerable Thubten Chodron, sit on cushions. All the figures in this visualization have rainbow-like bodies whose nature is clear, bright light. Imagine they are there in person, radiating brilliant light toward you and all the sentient beings surrounding you. At the slightly lower lotus throne of Chenrezig, to the Buddha's right, many gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and other highly realized beings from the lineage of the Compassion Way emerge from the heart of Chenrezig and take their seats surrounding his throne. At the slightly lower lotus throne of Manjushri, to the Buddha's left, a similar group of highly realized beings from the wisdom wing of Profound View emerges from the heart of Manjushri, and they take their seats surrounding his throne. Behind the Buddha, where Vajradhara sits on a slightly lower throne, a similar group of highly realized beings from the lineage of consecrated practices, Vajrayana, Tantrayana, Mantrayana, all emerge from the heart of Vajradhara, taking their seats surrounding his throne. Imagine that all of them are there in person and extend brilliant light toward you and all the sentient beings surrounding you. We should think that every figure in this refuge visualization is extremely pleased with us. We are putting our Dharma studies into a meaningful personal practice, which familiarizes us with all the essential elements of the path to enlightenment. This pleases our gurus, the Buddhas, and the Sangha of all the Bodhisattvas and highly realized beings more than anything else could. Now we summon up the reasons for taking refuge with the following thoughts. Since beginningless time, I and all sentient beings who have been my mothers and fathers have been born into cyclic existence and have experienced all of its many sufferings. But now I have gained something special that is difficult to achieve and most beneficial: the optimum human rebirth. I have met with the precious teachings of the Buddha, which offer the refuge of a safe direction that leads to liberation from suffering and the immeasurable joy of enlightenment. So, for the sake of all sentient beings, I will achieve the complete enlightenment of Buddhahood. I therefore take refuge in the gurus and the three jewels, the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha of Bodhisattvas and highly realized beings before me. As you chant the following refuge prayer 3 times, think that all sentient beings are taking refuge along with you. Imagine that rainbow-like beams of light in 5 stainless colors, like bands of colored light emanating from a prism, come from the gurus, the Buddhas, and all the bodhisattvas and realized beings in the space before you. These stainless prism-like colors descend like nectar upon you and all the sentient beings around you. And this is the prayer that we're all familiar with. Sangye chudang sogi chognam la Jangchu bardu dagni kyatsu chi Dagi jinso gibe sonam ki Drola pinchir sangye drupa shu Sangye chudang sogi chognam la Jangchu bardu dagni kyatsu chi Dagi jinyen gite sonam ki Rola pinchir sangye drupa shu Sangye chudang sogi chognam la Jangchu bardu dagni kyatsu chi Dagi jinyen gibe sonam ki Rola Pinchir Sangye Drupa. Now from Shakyamuni Buddha's heart emerges a duplicate of himself that comes to the crown of your head and facing in the same direction as you, dissolves into you. The Buddha's conscious awareness merges with yours, and the nature of your awarenesses become the same, like water being mixed with water. As this occurs, imagine you are suddenly transformed into the enlightened being you have the innate potential to become. You attain the state of Vajradhara. Your body is now a Buddha's body of light, radiating light as bright as the sun in all directions. Countless Buddhas emanate from you and dissolve into all the beings surrounding you, helping them to remove their obscurations. Countless beings emanate from you and dissolve into all the beings surrounding you, helping them to remove their obscurations and purify their negativities. Those with whom you have strong karmic connections transfer into the Buddhas they have the potential to become. They in turn are able to reach out in the same way and help others attain enlightenment. This grows exponentially until the entirety of sentient beings surrounding you is enlightened and the environment is transformed into a pure field of Buddha energy. Bring to mind the four immeasurable thoughts as you think to yourself, wouldn't it be wonderful if all sentient beings possessed happiness and its causes, were free from suffering and its causes, were never separated from the joy of liberation and enlightenment, and abided in a state of equanimity? I will work to make this happen. May I be inspired and blessed by my gurus and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to develop the power to accomplish this. From your heart, feel yourself being drawn closer and closer to the figures of refuge until you find that you are directly in front of your gurus, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Buddha Shakyamuni, and all the other Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and beings who are the objects of refuge on a huge platform of light. At this point in the visualization, if you choose to do so, you may dedicate yourself to the Bodhisattva path in the presence of these spiritual beings. If you have already taken Bodhisattva vows, it is recommended that you renew those vows regularly, which can be done here at this time. This passage is taken from Shantideva's The Way of the Bodhisattva. If you choose not to dedicate yourself to the Bodhisattva path at the present time, you just don't have to do this right now. But just listen to this for now, and you become familiar with it. Picture yourself on bended knee, with your hands together in an attitude of prayer. Imagine that the objects of refuge, the lamas, your gurus, the conquerors, the Buddhas, and their children, all the bodhisattvas, who are in front of you, say each line of the following prayer to you, and you repeat each line back to them. Do this 3 times. So now I will just read the lines, but the way you would do it is you would imagine they were reading it to you and then you're repeating it back to them. When you actually take refuge from your own guru or a spiritual master in person, this is what they will do. They will recite these lines, each line, and then you will repeat it back to them. So here are the lines taken from Shantideva. Lamas, conquerors, and their children, please take heed of me. Just as the earlier ones gone to bliss generated an altruistic intention to become enlightened and dwelt by stages in the learnings of bodhisattvas, so I also, for the sake of helping transmigrators, will generate an altruistic intention to become enlightened and train in stages in the learnings of bodhisattvas. Lamas, conquerors, and their children, please take heed of me. Just as the earlier ones gone to bliss generated an altruistic intention to become enlightened and dwelt by stages in the learnings of bodhisattvas, so I also, for the sake of helping transmigrators, will generate an altruistic intention to become enlightened and train in stages in the learnings of bodhisattvas. Lamas, conquerors, and your children, please take heed of me. Just as the earlier ones gone to bliss generated an altruistic intention to become enlightened and dwelt by stages in the learnings of bodhisattvas, so I also, for the sake of helping transmigrators, will generate an altruistic intention to become enlightened and train in stages in the learnings of bodhisattvas. Having repeated that 3 times, then you take the vow of engaged intention to become enlightened. This means you're not just wishing you could be, but now you are engaging in the practices of a bodhisattva. Then cultivate joy upon generating this altruistic intention, as well as conscientiousness, with the following lines also taken from Shantideva's Way of the Bodhisattva. Now my life is fruitful. I have attained a good human existence. Today I've been born in the Buddha lineage. I have become a Buddha child. Now, whatever happens, I will act so as not to sully this flawless, holy Buddha lineage, initiating actions concordant with this lineage. And that completes the process of taking bodhisattva vows. And then we now move to dissolving the refuge visualization. Your vision of all sentient beings in the space around you having attained enlightenment now melts into light and dissolves into the heart of Shakyamuni Buddha before you. Chenrezig, Manjushri, Vajradhara, and their surrounding lineages, as well as His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the assembly of your gurus and spiritual teachers, all melt into light and dissolve into Shakyamuni Buddha's heart. Shakyamuni Buddha then comes toward you, becoming smaller and smaller. As he reaches the center of your forehead, he dissolves inseparably into you. The Buddha's conscious awareness and your conscious awareness blend and become of the same nature as you experience a sense of bliss. Your awareness now moves down through your central channel to the center of your heart chakra, where the indestructible drop of your clear light consciousness and Buddha nature reside. You are in the form of clear, luminous awareness, situated at the center of a white lotus of light with 6 petals. At the center of the lotus and on each of the petals, there is a different pattern of brilliant saffron energy. This energy is in the form of 7 syllables that represent the mantra Om A Ra Pa Sa Na Di, with the syllable D at the center of the lotus. From your position in the center of the lotus, turn the sphere of your clear light awareness toward the Om, which is on the lotus petal facing west or in the 6 o'clock position. So you are in the center, like a sphere of light, and you turn your attention toward that petal that Om is on. Om is the beginningless sound expressing the pure essence of eternal reality. It signifies the fundamental beginningless essence underlying our being that is capable of transforming into the perfection of an enlightened being. As you breathe in slowly and deeply, form the shape Ah with your mouth as you feel its energy from the whisper of your breath filling your heart chakra. As you begin to slowly breathe out, form the shape Ooh with your mouth as you move the energy of the breath up from your heart chakra to your throat chakra. As you slowly complete the out-breath, form the shape Mmm with your lips closed as you move the energy from your throat chakra up to your crown chakra. So we have these 3 pure syllables that form Om. Aum. And you imagine the energy is at your heart chakra with the moves up to your throat chakra with the Oo, and then as you go, moves up to your crown chakra. Do this slowly 3 times, using the 3 pure frequencies. Aum. Bring the energy to your heart chakra as you breathe in with Ah. Move it to your throat chakra as you breathe out with Oo, and to your crown chakra as you complete the breath with Bring the clarity of your awareness back to the center of the lotus. Briefly, contemplate the meaning of emptiness. There is nothing in existence with an independent nature. Everything continually arises dependently and is empty of being independent in any way. From the center of the lotus, turn the sphere of your awareness now toward the syllable Ah, which is on the lotus petal facing northwest or in the 8 o'clock position. Contemplate the meaning of Ah, the empty nature of self and phenomena is uncreated and without beginning. Ah, the empty nature of self and phenomena is uncreated and without beginning. Turn your sphere of clear, luminous awareness toward the Ra, which is on the lotus petal facing northeast or in the 10 o'clock position. Contemplate the meaning of Ra. The empty nature of self and phenomena is without corruption or stain. Ra. The empty nature of self and phenomena is without corruption or stain. Turn your sphere of clear awareness toward the Pa, which is on the lotus petal facing east or in the 12 o'clock position. Contemplate the meaning of Pa. The empty nature of self and phenomena is the ultimate truth. Pa, the empty nature of self and phenomena is the ultimate truth. Turn the clarity of your awareness toward the Tsa, which is on the lotus petal facing southeast or in the 2 o'clock position. Contemplate the meaning of Tsa. The empty nature of self and phenomena does not die, nor is it reborn. Tsa. The empty nature of self and phenomena does not die, nor is it reborn. Next, turn your clear, luminous awareness toward the Na, which is on the lotus petal facing southwest or in the 4 o'clock position. Contemplate the meaning of Na. The names given to self and phenomena are mere labels. The empty nature behind the names and labels cannot be gained or lost. Na. The names given to self and phenomena are mere labels. The empty nature behind the names and labels cannot be gained or lost. Finally, bring your awareness to the very center of the lotus, the seat of your clear light continuum of consciousness, which holds your empty, dependently arising Buddha nature and unlimited positive potential. Focus on the brilliant saffron syllable D, which is just beneath your awareness at the center of the lotus. As you slowly repeat the syllable D to yourself over and over again, feel that you are gently but surely awakening the power and potential of your Buddha nature. As you continue to purify your view and accumulate positive potential on the stages and levels of the Bodhisattva path, your Buddha nature will grow stronger and stronger through the power of dependently arising virtuous causes and conditions until it ultimately flowers into the full awakening of enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. So slowly just repeat the D to yourself as if you are awakening your Buddha nature. And then just hold your concentration on that clear luminosity of consciousness for a few moments. And that completes the visualization. That particular emptiness meditation was suggested to me by Geshe Drakpa to insert at that point between going from the refuge visualization into the merit field visualization. And also it was suggested by His Holiness the Dalai Lama in his the empowerment that he gave, the Manjushri empowerment. So that's what I have done. I've sort of put those two together with that particular visualization or meditation on emptiness. So that is something that we could use if we choose to tomorrow during eclipse time. So that covers the refuge visualization. And this will be posted online so that you can use that if you need to have a sort of a guided meditation to it. Also, the study guides for all of it, with all of the links, with all of the images, all of the mantras, all of the explaining of the mantras, will be in this study guide, so that you can work on this on your own. We will not do this again, like I said. We will probably use parts of these mantras and things as we go through Nagarjuna's text. But I wanted to make sure that we had a kind of a solid practice that each of us can do. Because if you recall, when we started the very first start of this particular set of classes, Geshe Nima gave us transmissions of these mantras. And he told us to practice at least 1 hour a day. Practice to meditate 1 hour a day. This is one way that could be done if you choose to do it. If you have another practice that you're comfortable with, by all means do that. And as I said before, if parts of this just seem too much, too over the top, just focus on the things that have meaning to you. Okay, and the remaining time, which is not much, I want to sort of revisit what we were talking about last time and add to that.
I'm gonna just
Go ahead.
insert this info because it may be relevant. Christopher and I are going to actually go on a vacation to visit my family in California. So next week, the 14th,
And
and
the
the
fall.
following week, the 21st, we will not have class. So if you have questions, the reason I'm interrupting is so it'll be a couple of weeks, so if you want to have questions before we end the session today, this would be a good day to do it.
That's a good point. Are there any questions about the refuge visualization that anybody has? Anything that we went through in all of this? Good, so it seems clear. Yeah. None of the, but, I don't like my mother.
The only thing I would have asked, and maybe this is what we will do or have done in the past, so. The process is very helpful and very thorough and clear in terms of the explanation of the various parts of it. It would be for me personally, so I only can speak for me, it'd be actually good to have a complete start to finish with no interruptions.
Agreed.
Oh, I see.
A
As
recording of?
None of
a
the
recording
extra
of-
stuff.
We like a recording.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could just put your earphones in, do it, sit there for the hour, whatever it takes, and go through it. I do some of this, I do this whole thing every morning, but I'm having to go back to the guide and look, what am I supposed to concentrate on with Manjushri or versus, and so,
Yeah, yeah.
I agree, I was thinking that.
That's-
Phil's like, well, think about measurable of joy, compassion, equanimity when you're doing your own life, or, so, and getting the positions where everybody is and.
Yeah.
Translucent versus, going by, so. There's which gurus are sitting on what thing and which lotus and which pillows and all, I mean, so it's.
You wouldn't, but Brian, my God. A lot of this is taken from, there's a book called Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand.
Yeah.
That is so confusing.
Yeah,
It's beyond the beyond. And so this is actually
clear.
pared down
Well,
considerably.
you've done an excellent job. Don't give me.
And I agree with you.
He's just asking for.
Yeah, I
sort of
think-
a clear. I agree, and they're
All right.
very helpful to have.
Here
a
are two
more-
ways it can be done. I will happily and will, I will make a recording,
Yeah.
but you could also make your own. You could be
Yeah.
your own voice speaking to yourself.
Reading what you.
Reading when this is put on online, you can download the study guide and do that yourself.
Actually, I
Which,
have done that, and I will say I recommend that as well for other reasons.
Yeah.
Because then there's some kind of self,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think your voice and even, first your voice, you have a voice that's deep, authoritative, knowledgeable, so that comes through when you speak about this. Secondly, I think you have done a tremendous amount of work, and so you're very familiar with the material, it flows, you can even hear the inflections as you go through it today, and, so, and I'm bored listening to me. So, me personally, it'd be better to have,
Yeah, I will do that. So
Yeah, just
these are just
audio.
options, I will do an audio.
No Molly, no phone ringing, no.
Yeah.
That timing of the was perfect when you just finished.
And you just have to kind of laugh, well, here's our society now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we'll do that.
Okay,
Because the thing that is eventually you will get weaned off of it
right,
and it will all be just
Just be
habit. And you can actually speed up the whole process
Right.
considerably once you've got it,
Right.
in you.
yeah, the mantras could be
Yeah.
said faster and
Yeah.
everything in general.
Yeah.
You gotta start out, it's like, you gotta start out pedaling slow,
We're developing habits.
yeah,
And the habits that are in this refuge visualization are very, very positive habits.
Yeah.
Very, very positive.
yeah,
Very, very positive ways to be thinking about others, to be thinking about yourself. One of the things I wanted to mention about compassion in Chenrezig, if you're in a state, and many of us can be in this state, where you cannot, what you need is self-compassion. There's no way any of us can be compassionate if we can't be compassionate with ourselves, if we
Right.
can't forgive ourselves or let go of things we have done and things like that. So
Right.
it may be that you want to just focus on that first, Some of you may just want to focus on self-compassion and use Chenrezig to do that. Have Chenrezig, superimpose himself over you. He's holding your Buddha nature in between his hands. So I just want to encourage you to be creative in the ways that will work for you with this.
Yeah.